talk about the mind. Ooh, thank you, Patty. Very good. So the first week we started to talk about the mind, how the mind works. Yes, and how the mind is the creator of our complete happiness and our complete negative emotions, our suffering, our dissatisfaction. All of it comes from the mind. Hmm? It comes from the mind in the sense that is our perception in relation to things, in relation to how things appears to us that create our experience. Does it make sense? Yes. Why? Because, well, we can be see here today because we're in a good mood and we have these beautiful flowers and we say, wow, I'm so happy these flowers are here, right? And then but today I'm in a bad mood. So I don't like flowers because they attract a lot of bees and things like that. So I say, wow, these flowers here so bad. Flowers, same, right? What changed? The mind. The mind changed and became either, kind of like something positive or something negative. For me, for the flowers, didn't change at all. Right? Does it make sense? From the side of the flowers, nothing changed. The flowers continue exactly the same. But our minds, the way we perceive it, the way we decide, to look at the things, makes something an experience for us either happy or dissatisfying. Yes? So we talked about that the most common type of mental states that we are at, that we are in, in our daily lives, or the main dish of our minds, as I like to say, it's actually the mind that what we call the eight worldly concerns. We talked about that. What are the eight worldly concerns? Is those four pairs of mental states that we are all the time engaging with. Hmm? So the first one is Linda is there. So Linda should know, and Patty as well. I know Patty knows everything, Linda as well, but I'm going to explain again so we can know. So what happens is that the main dish means that our minds, even though we want to see, and experience the flowers and the day to day our lives happy, but we don't have that control because the main dish, the minds of the eight worldly concerns are always there concerning us, yes, worrying us. So the first type is wanting to have and looking for pleasures, right? Our minds are all the time looking for temporary sensory pleasures. Remember we talking about that? That we are all the time, oh, nice music. Oh, I want to listen to this music, especially nowadays. Because here in Florida, New York is easier because New York has a lot of public transportation. You go to public transportation, there's people all the time doing something, listening to something, talking something, doing something. There's always that need to be doing something with the senses. Does it make sense what I'm talking about? Yes. We are always concerned about that. I want to listen to something better. I don't want to hear the sound of the subway, dum, 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 that big sound we have in the subway in New York. So, or we want to smell roses all the time or perfume. Don't want to smell the smelly subway of New York. So the mind is, all the time looking for that. All the time. All the time we're looking for this. So that makes us a little bit slaves of these minds. And at the same time, we are not only wanting to have that, but we don't want to have the opposite. We don't want, we have aversion. Yes? When we smell something bad, we are like, oh, I don't want to smell that. Or we see something that we don't like, or we hear music that we don't like, right? Nothing to do with the music, because but it's actually us. We are saying this music is bad, so I don't want to have that. Huh? So this is the pair. We have attachment to pleasures and we have aversion to unpleasant situations of the senses. Second, we have attachment to gain things, material possessions. I think it's easy in America to see that. That this is in the top of our minds, right? We are constantly looking for more and 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 more. That's why Amazon is so rich. because we are constantly looking for more and we get bored, so we have to get a distraction, so we go to Black Friday, right? It's very funny. Like I realized something very funny now. Is like my first time that I'm Thanksgiving here in America. So before I arrived, everything was Thanksgiving, 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 Thanksgiving. 3 days later, now everything is about Christmas, 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 Christmas. Everything already, they already changed like this. So everything is to encourage, encourage, us to buy more, right? So we are constant all the time, when we start to think about, oh, which is going to be what I'm going to buy next, what I need to buy this, I need to buy that, I want to do this, oh, Christmas is coming, I need to give this. No, it's all the time in the back of our minds. Constantly, we are in this. The same way, aversion, hmm, to when we have, or fear, or aversion for losing the things that we have. When I get a new phone, oh yes, my phone is so good. Oh yes, amazing. So I get attached to this. So I get fear. I have fear of losing it. Yes? Or the car, I have a fear of like especially driving here in Florida, very, very dangerous place for drive. So you kind of like you get a little bit like fearful of smashing the car or something like this, isn't it? Or when I have something that I like, someone taking away or something, or me losing it. Yes. When you start to get a little bit, like a Brian's age, you start to forget things. Then we lose it, So that happens, sometimes. So that is the second pair: attachment for gain, for material possessions, and fear or aversion to lose them. I like the other two more. I think they are more now, like our day-to-day lives. We have attachment for what we call praise. Yes, to receive praise, to be said, someone to say to us, "Thank you, you are very kind." Oh wow, no, Sandra is amazing cook. She's an amazing cook, amazing. We're all the time looking for this. Everything that we are doing is basically, in some ways, waiting for that recognition and hearing that words. Yeah, those words. But not only this, we are also, which I find it very funny, so afraid of criticism. Wow. Hmm? The things we do to not be criticized by others. Wow, 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 wow. Even lie to others. So no, it wasn't me. No, no. Right? Just because of that fear of being criticized. So these, the other pair. And the last one, which I feel is very, very common to our age and time and age, having a good reputation. We are so worried about having a good reputation with others, what others are going to think about me. It's not they're going to say, what they're going to think about me. What they gonna think about it if I don't have that? What they gonna think if I don't drive this car? What they gonna think if I don't have that? Huh? Or if I look like this, or if I say that, or if I do this? And the fear of having a bad reputation. Oh, people are not gonna like me. Oh no, this or that. Isn't it? We are constantly in that. That's the main idea why social media works. For us to increase, and create an idea of ourselves that people will love it and like it. That if they would be with us 24/7, we all know that it's impossible to sustain it, right? But we don't say that in social media. In social media, we present only the good reputation part, right? That is our lives. That's what we're doing all the time. So we saw that these are the main dishes of the mind. That's what is constantly worrying, concerning the mind. And therefore, I cannot enjoy just looking at the flowers every time I look at the flowers. Because the moment I see it, I start, oh, but it's not this. Oh, no, but if this is starting to look like this, what people are going to think about me if I have the flowers like this, right? We start to create all of that. So then we started to go even a little bit more like subtle into the exploration of understanding the mechanics of the mind. And we realized that it's not just these four opposites, but actually it's the mind of attachment that is really the problem, right? A mind that is always over exaggerating the qualities of something. Yes. The mind of attachment projects ideas, projects qualities, projects, kind of like permanence. Oh, these flowers are beautiful and they're going to be beautiful forever. In 2 days, gone, right? Or the body, my body. Yes, I need to take care of my body all the time, a lot, because I need to have a very beautiful body because I'm going to be beautiful forever. Then, old age kicks in and everything goes down the hill. So we kind of like really think, we really look into these things with that mind of attachment, with grasping as a source of happiness. Hmm? We believe, we truly believe that having those things, those objects, people, situations, or even opinions, ideas, right, that we have in our mind, we need to have them. We need to make them concrete, make them real, so we can be happy. So we started to see that the mind of attachment is fooling us, completely deceiving us, you know, selling something as if they would be able to give us happiness. Guess what? We get it. We work so much. We kind of like do so many things. We get it. And then the attachment says, oh, amazing, for 3 minutes. Then gone. Then we need to start chasing again something else, right? And when we start to chasing again something else, and then we start to chasing again something else, and again something else, and again something else. And that is what we call life. Yes? That's our life right now. Constantly going again and again and again and again. And guess what? That would be already, shaken, because the mind of attachment makes our minds shaken and kind of like a little bit disturbed, right? We look a little bit like a addicts, no? Like, we need more, 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 right? But what happens even worse is when attachment doesn't get what it wants. Then, when attachment doesn't get what it wants, as we saw, it was last week that we saw that. Yes, anger. Then anger kicks in. Hmm? That wish for that person that is not allowing me to have what I want to suffer. No? Or that situation to be like this. We start to really put negativities into the person, into the situation, into the object, everything. 5 minutes later, before, best friend. 5 minutes later, horrible. Hmm? Patty, you remind me, but we had this incredible opportunity to have teachings with one young lama that he's a reincarnation of one lama that meditated very close to where Lama Zopa Rinpoche, our teacher, meditated in the caves in the Himalayas, right? And he said, we get married with the love, no, and then we
We
stay
fall in love
married.
with an angel.
We fall in love with an angel and we divorce
We
the
marry
devil.
a human.
We marry a human, we get, yes, exactly. We marry a human, we stay married to an angel, and then we divorce, no? We
The
divorce the devil. That's normally how it goes. No, the mind immediately kind of like, oh, the person doesn't get what we want anymore, start to be a pain. Then, they are the devil, isn't it? They become negative, but the mind becomes negative. And the negative mind, the mind of anger, and anger is just like a big word to say frustration, impatience, all of these nuances, right? That we have in our minds that just do it like this and completely steal our peace of mind. Yes? So we talked about that. We talked about how these two are the main minds that they are in our day-to-day lives, stealing our peace of mind and making us having like dissatisfaction, making us having suffering in our lives, isn't it? It's not because we haven't won the lottery. It's not because we don't have the love of our lives. It's not because we didn't find a job. It's not because of that. It's because of those mental states. Hmm? Does it make sense? Yes. Are we communicating, people over there? Yes. Okay. So it's very important that we kind of like really understand that, because today we're gonna say we're gonna go even worse, more bad news. Well, no, I don't know if it's bad news. Actually, for me, study what we're going to study today is the best thing that we can study. Because what we're going to talk about today is that not only those mental states, when we are under the control of them, we suffer. Yes, when we are under the control of attachment, when we are under the control of aversion and anger, we are suffering, we are disturbed, we don't have peace of mind. Guess what? They create something even worse. They leave seeds in our mind. Normally, it's not that they just come and they just go and then they don't leave anything. They leave seeds or imprints is the word that we use to say. To be even easier, they create habitual tendencies because the mind is a habitual being, let's say like this. Yes? So that means that the moment that I allow myself, that I indulge into the mind of attachment, I'm creating a seed, an imprint, a habit to react and to be and to feel and experience things again and again and again in that way. Does it make sense? Yeah. So that is, and the same with anger, right? The more I allow, don't control my mind, and then I just use my body and my speech to express that anger, the stronger it becomes. Then the easier it is to react in that way. So when we talk about, I always give this example that attachment and anger, they are spontaneous. They arise spontaneous in ourselves. We don't need to make any effort. We see the chocolate cake, immediately arises. We see the burrito, immediately arises. No? We see, or we are driving, and then someone cuts in front of you, immediately anger arises. Someone accuses you of something, immediately anger arises. We don't need to make any effort. Why we don't need to make any effort? Because of the habitual tendencies. Yes? Because we are just habituating ourselves again and again and again and again and again. That habitualization and those seeds, okay, that is what we call they arise because of the intention that we had in that moment. So the intention of attachment, the intention of anger creates the seeds, yes, the seeds to have more attachment and more anger. And not only this, when we have those seeds, there is also the result of those seeds, which is that feeling of disturbance that we already talked about when we have those mindsets. Yes, does it make sense? So what happened with that is that this is the law, understanding that it's understanding the law of cause and effect, or the law of karma. We talk so much about karma, and especially we use the word karma normally to say when something happens to someone that we don't like. Oh, that's just their karma, That's what we say. Oh, no, no, this is their karma, right? That's what we say. But we don't understand exactly that relationship of intention and result. Hmm? So what it means, the intention, it means that if I have the intention of attachment, if I have the intention of anger, the result is going to be disturbance. There's no other possibility. Why? Because we experience ourselves when we are under the control of karma, of attachment or anger, we are disturbed. We are not happy. We are not easy, relaxed, open-hearted, No, the mind is, yeah, the mind is like this. So that proves to us that relationship with intention and result, it's extremely important. Guess what? The good news. So that's why I said it was not only bad news. Actually, karma is a scientific law. Let's put like this. It's maths. Yeah? Just math. It's just intention creates action that creates result. Yes? Yeah. So If the intention is negative, it's going to create a negative action and it's going to create a negative result. But if intention is positive, it creates a positive action and creates a positive result. Does it make sense? Yeah. What I'm saying? So now it is important that we really start to understand that law a little bit deeper. Because if we don't understand that, we are not going to be able to really, how does it really happen? Does it really make like this? So we can say that the law of cause and effect has mainly four characteristics. Yes? So that science, that kind of like, let's say, math, the equation. Yes, equation. Yes. Good. I'm learning maths and I'm learning also words. Yes, Patty, you had a have a question?
When you talk about action, are you meaning a physical action or a word, or are you also meaning a thought?
Mm, very good question. So actually, intention is kind of like the beginning of the mental activity. Hmm? And from there, that intention will, let's say, guide or influence, yes, the thought that then will become an action of, of speech, an action of the body or a speech, yes. But to be very precise, we also say that a thought, and it's also an action of the mind, something that moves the mind. I like that as well, right? So it's moving the mind into that direction. So it can be a thought, it can be an action of speech, and then can be an action of the body. Yeah. So that's why when we talk about karma, we talk about the Buddha taught about the 10 non-virtues and the 10 virtues actions. Yes. What does it mean? He explained in lots of details the cause and effect of actions of the body, actions of the mind, and actions of speech, and told us it's up to you. He never told us like you need to do this, you need to action practice, the 10 virtuous actions and the 10 non-virtuous actions. He recommended by explaining how they work. So if I understand that my negative intentions creates negative actions that creates a negative result for me, it's up to you if you want to continue doing it. But I think that if you start to understand it, then the mind starts to wanting to change it. Yes? If we don't understand, if we just do it as a dogma or as I have to, yes, kind of like when we come with our normal idea of things, that we come with this idea, I have to do it, this is the way, then doesn't actually exist the transformation of karma, the transformation of the mind, because it's based on fear, is based on attachment, is based on all of these actually negative minds already, because I have to is attachment. No, I have to have this, I want it, I need this, right? I need this to my, I have to, because if I don't do this, this is happening. Hmm? But if I understand and I make a choice based on reasoning, yeah, based on logic, based on my own experience, that, oh, wait a minute, let me check if what Kalden is saying. When I am angry, yes, when someone says something, and then when I do something, when my mind is angry like this, I'm disturbed. No, I'm already disturbed. And then when I go, especially when I'm with my partner and we are having an argument, and then I just go and I say something mean to that person, just make it things even worse, right? So actually, I'm creating suffering for me now. I'm creating suffering. I'm creating an action that is suffering, and I'm creating a result that is suffering, right? Because I say that, and I already know that this is not the right thing. So I'm already suffering. Yes, I'm already disturbed, but I'm already suffering. And then guess what? The person might say something back that is going to hurt even more. So it just creates a mess. Yes? So that is that we need to understand. And we need to understand that, again, that that is the law of cause and effect. So that means it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. It doesn't matter if you kind of like want to leave these or not. It's just how things work. So that's why I say that the Buddha was never someone that invented anything. What he did, he observed how things are. Yeah. He observed that this is the law of cause and effect. That if you act in a negative way, you have negative experiences. If you act in a positive intention, you actually have positive results. So that is the first characteristic of the first feature of the law of cause and effect. That karma is definite. What does it mean, definite? Definitive? Definitive. I never know where it is. Where's that? Definitive. That is where. Definitive. So what does it mean? It means that it's not that karma can never be kind of like, erased or eliminated or something like that. It means that is definitive in the sense that a negative intention creates negative results. A positive intention creates positive results. There is no way for these to be different. Absolutely. Yes? That is very important that we understand that. Why? Because we are completely result oriented, aren't we? We are all the time thinking about the results. We are on the results. Guess what? The karma is saying, don't worry about the results, sweetheart. Don't worry. Focus on the intention. If you create an action with a positive intention, there is no other way. There is no other result that you can have besides a positive result. It's the same thing. There is no way. If I plant a seed of roses, this is roses, yes. There is no way I can have sunflower. Yes. That's it. That's what it means. If I plant apple seeds, I can only have apples. Does it make sense? So that is the first characteristic, the first feature of the law cause and effect. Yes? The second one, I always find it a little bit challenge for us. We can't experience, it's very similar in a way with the first one, but it's seen in a different way. It means that we can't experience something if we haven't created the cause. And that is normally the answer, for most of our problems. Why is this happening to me? That's normally what we think, no? Or why bad things happen to nice or good people. It's not because, again, I didn't say that yet, but it's very important that I say this. Karma, there is no judgment of deserving or not deserving something. There's no punishment, there's no guilt, there's nothing like that in karma. That's why I like to call it science of the mind, maths, so people really see it without the Brazilian drama in it, okay? So it's just the idea of cause and effect. Nobody's saying that if you do something in a negative way that you deserve the negative result. Yes? Nobody's saying that. Karma is just saying that that's what is going to happen. It's not that like, oh, because you planted, apple seeds, you deserve to have oranges. Because, wow, you planted so well those apple seeds, you deserve to have oranges. There's no way that this can happen. Yes? Does it make sense? So that is very important, because when we talk about the second feature, the second characteristic, we are saying that what we experience, even if it is painful, even if it is negative, and if it is bad, it doesn't mean that we deserve it. We are not saying that you deserve to be happening what is happening to you. No, you don't deserve. Nobody deserves to suffer. But it means that there was a cause for that. And if you are experiencing this, yes, the cause was created by you. Because that is the other aspect of it, right? We cannot experience something if we haven't created the cause. So that's why sometimes we see those. Recently, this year, there was this horrible airplane accident in India. You know, there was this. They were leaving from Amritsar, I think, one city, and I already took that flight actually, going to London, and something happened, and they just crashed the airplane, right, with like 300 people, something like this. However, one person didn't die. How we explain that? How Buddhists explain that? That he was Batman, or he was kind of Superman or something like that? No. We explain that he just didn't have created the causes for dying. Does it make sense? So that is very complicated for our minds to understand, especially when negative things happen to us, especially when in this life maybe we have been incredible, kind, loving people. But we can also try to check some of the habitual tendencies and patterns that we have in our minds. And maybe we can try to check some of these cause and effect relationship. We might not like to kind of like, when someone, I don't know, steals something from us and we get very angry. So are you saying to me that I kind of like steal something from someone? Well, no, I'm not saying necessarily that you did that, especially in this life, but I'm saying that you might have created the causes to maybe want something from others. Yes? Maybe you have that, that mind of jealousy or envy. Envy? Yes? So if that mind is there, or, that mind of someone appears and you're always kind of like x-raying them and criticizing something, and then you receive a lot of criticisms and you don't know why. But I don't criticize, even if you don't speak, the mind is there. Does it make sense what I'm talking about? Yes? Because that is very important that we understand. It's not about deserving, but it's about we can't experience something that we don't create the cause. Yes? That is another characteristic, and that is important. All of these that I'm talking about, why it is important, why are we talking? Because if we don't understand that, then we are not gonna want to change. Yes, we're not gonna be wanting to kind of like do something about it. The third characteristic of karma, or the aspect or feature or whatever you want to call, is that karma expands. Yes, the same way that from a little seed, apple seed, comes and it germinates, sprouts and germinates and go and grows and become a beautiful tree. Yes, with more apples, with more these. Karma also, intention also creates that. Yes, it means that the more I engage with that, the stronger it becomes, the stronger it becomes, the stronger it will become. Yeah? If I allow it to be there, if I don't intervene, if I don't do anything about it, it just becomes more and more and more. Does it make sense? That is easy in our own lives that we can see that. Hmm? Remember, all of these features and characteristics, whatever you want to call it, aspects, they are either for negative intentions, but also for positive intentions. So this one is a very good one, because this good karma is also expendable, The more small little, even if it's very small little kind of like positive karma that we create, it will expand. Does it make sense? Yes? So this is a good news, very good news. Okay? So a small cause can create a large result. That's the idea. Yes? And the fourth one is karmic imprints or these seeds or these habitual tendencies. They don't get lost. It's not that they just kind of like, oh, but I don't remember what I did last life or last year or when I was young. So we say that karma always catches up. At some point, we're gonna experience the result. Yes. So here is important that we say that yes, but karma also, let's say, they don't get lost, but they get either experienced. Yes. So that means that result experienced. So for example, when we get sick or an accident or whatever happens, yes, we can also see that that karma is being um, experienced. The result of that karma is getting experienced. Yes. So what happens is that when, for example, I get something bad happens to me, someone steals something from me, something bad happens, or whatever, that is the result of a negative karma that is manifesting. So at that moment, I have a choice. Am I gonna get angry at the person who stole that from me and say, I hope that this person dies or get rah, 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 or I'm gonna say, oh, that is happening. And I can only experience something if I have created the cause for it. Oh, so this is being purified, this is being experienced. May I offer, or may this person actually find happiness with whatever they stole from me. So that means I'm stopping myself from continuing to create that negative mind. Does it make sense what I just said?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah. So actually, that's when we started to realize that those negative moments, those painful, those results of our negative karma, they are great opportunities for us to actually do not create more negative karma and actually create more positive one. Does it make sense what I just said, Debbie?
How do you create more positive? You mean by being grateful that
By offering, like, changing that negative mental state for a positive one, right? Instead of being reacting with anger towards someone that stole something from me. Ah, wow, if that happened because you know, if cause and effect is a result, is how the law of karma exists, how that things exist. It means that I'm experiencing this because I created the cause. Hmm? So may I be able to not create this cause anymore. So I'm not going to be angry with this person. I'm actually going to say, for this person to not create that karma of stealing, I'm going to offer to them. It's a gift. Yes? Instead of saying, because part of the karma to be complete, as we say, is that someone feels that they're being stolen, no? That something has been stolen from them. So we say, no, 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 no. For this person not to have someone to steal from them in their next life, what I'm gonna do? Actually, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna offer to them. Yes? Yes, Bob. Wait, I can't hear you. I think you need to unmute. You need to unmute yourself. Mm, let's check.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
But
No, it's not good.
I lost Tim.
You lost the question?
I'm gonna no. Couldn't hear you. So you're telling me someone steals from you,
Hmm.
doesn't matter. You're not gonna try to retrieve it. You're going to just let them have it.
No, 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 no. That's not what I'm saying.
That's what I'm hearing.
Of course, we hear what we want. So what we are talking about is that the mind, like we are trying to get actually the mind, which is the creator of the result, right? And that is why it's important for us to understand that when that happens, if we gonna try to resolve that situation with a mind of anger, with a reaction, let's say like this, a reaction for that that someone is stealing something from you, with a mind of anger, you are not only disturbing and being like unhappy in that moment, right? You already lost what you wanted. So that is already gone. So then the mind is already angry. You are starting to get angry. And then you're going to try to do that with an angry mind. So you're going to go to the police officer and you're going to say, blah, 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 right? And the police officer is going to say, oh, God, another one of those. So instead of helping you to have a peaceful, calm mind, right? By understanding that actually this was created because of a previous cause that you created. So you say, okay, I'm going to try my best to, yes, to go to the police, to try to get what I lost, yes, or to call the insurance, whatever it is that we kind of like do it, but not without understanding where this came from. I am not going to add to my already kind of like loss of the property or the object that I have, all of the Brazilian drama of like, oh, but this is so unfair, but this, oh, but this, blah, 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 and suffering more and more and more. Because that's what makes the situation worse, right? Let's face it. If someone steals your phone, yeah, it's boring, is like a yes and all of that. But yeah, you get a new one, right? So in some ways, it's not about the object in itself that creates the suffering. It's about all of the attachment and the drama and the kind of like that we put on that situation. Does it make sense what I'm talking about? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that is the idea. Now we have two more questions here.
I was going to, I'm wondering whether you're talking about when confronted with a karmic and negative karmic activity or
Situation,
whether,
result, yeah.
the result and how you react to it is actually a process of purification. So if you react to it correctly, you can purify that karmic result.
Yes. So it's not only you can purify in the sense that you're gonna maybe get your phone back, but you will stop the expanding of that karma. Remember, that's why the characteristics are so important that we understand. So that means that if I continue with that anger and wanting to kind of like to get something from this person, or if I want something bad, I'm creating a more negative karma so that I'm going to experience that again. Yes?
Sure.
So it's kind of like it's almost giving a stop into that. It's like stopping that thread of karma or that seed to growing again. Does it make sense? Because it's gone, and then I am trying to transform my mind so I can actually not experience that again. Yeah? So that is why it's so powerful to understand karma. Because it's actually for me, that's why I said it's for me, that's what freedom is about. Yeah? Freedom from our own minds. It's actually having the freedom to say, I don't want to have to do. If these things are happening, I understand if I have like, suffering, if all of these things are happening, but I don't want to have to deal with these anymore. So what do I need to do? Become, go and try to get the phone back with a lot of anger, and maybe I'm gonna take a gun and go around, looking for the person. then I'm just creating more suffering for that to happen maybe again and again and again and again and again and again. Does it make sense? Yes? So understanding karma is understanding choice. It's understanding freedom in that sense. Yes, Sandra?
I understood it deeply
Mm-hmm.
when Venerable Robina,
Mm-hmm.
in a teaching, she said when China invaded Tibet,
When China invaded Tibet,
they invaded the monasteries,
yes,
and they raped the nuns.
they raped the nuns. Yes,
And the nuns, while being raped,
yes,
they
prayed.
they ask for forgiving because this person was participating in their karma.
Yes,
For me, was like,
yes. So they were kind of like, they were being raped, and then they were thinking, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because if they are
yeah,
receiving that, actually they know that they did something like this to others.
that
Yes.
for me was like,
That is the
okay.
power of the mind, right? I always think about that as well when the Dalai Lama says that one of the reasons that made sure that all of the monks and all of the lay people, all of the Tibetans would not fight against the Chinese was because if that was happening to Tibet, is because it was the karma that was ripening, and he didn't want that karma to happen again. So he was stopping that karma. Yes? So he said, we're not going to go an eye for an eye. Because if we go an eye for an eye, yes, we're going to get again an eye for an eye, again an eye for an eye, and then never stops. Does it make sense? So that is very important that we understand that. My friend.
Under the scenario.
Another scenario. Let's see.
No, under that scenario that you just offered us.
Mm-hmm.
If these are people, spiritual people, spend their
Spiritual.
life
Mm-hmm.
in service
Mm-hmm.
and in prayer,
Spiritual people.
and they're devoted to the path,
Mm-hmm.
and this happens to them,
Mm-hmm.
I can understand concept of forgiveness.
The concept of
But
forgiveness.
what the problem I have is
Mm-hmm.
how, in intention, they created this. I understand in most every other case you have given us an example. I
Mhm.
see it.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, I say to myself, where was their intention to have themselves raped by warriors?
So the answer to these, could you hear, Patty? Did you guys hear his question? Yeah. Okay. So, in that case, we would have to talk about the concept of continuity of the mind. It doesn't necessarily means that in this life, because they are monks or nuns, right? That, let's say, the continuity. So in previous lives, they haven't created negative karma. I always say, here in Florida, there's a lot of psychic people, yes, and then they kind of like also they go and they see kind of like your past lives and things like that, And I every time someone comes and talks to me about it, they always say that they were someone very important in Egypt or in Greece or something like this. And I always try to think about it and say, I don't think we had so many important people because, we like everybody was important. So who was the killer, the prostitute, or the one killing everybody? Where was it? Where they were. So that is the idea, right? That we all have also created negative kind of like aspects with our minds. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. And that's an answer to a question that I put forward. And it's not necessarily
Mhm.
the intention from this life,
That's it.
but from
Very good. Very good. It's not necessarily an intention from this life. Exactly. So that is why it's kind of like complicated for us to believe in that law so much because we are very limited with our minds to see, wait a minute, but in this life, it doesn't make sense, right? He's kind of like, but I cannot see. This person has always been nice, nice, nice. How this person is just having that, right? That result now. We don't know. We don't know what is, what type of seeds. So actually understanding that also helps us to say, I have no idea. I don't remember what I did yesterday, right? So I definitely don't remember what I did in my previous life and my previous life and my previous life. So I better really watch my mind, really watch my intentions, right? And more than watching the intentions is that's when we talk about the law, cause and effect, we also talk about what we say conditions. Yes? Because conditions are, for example, for us to have these beautiful flowers, it's not just needed a seed, no? Because if I just put a seed here on the top of my hand and I say, oh, that's amazing, tomorrow I'm going to have or in 10 days I'm going to have a flower. It's not going to happen, right? So I need the necessary conditions for that seed to become the potential it has within it. Does it make sense? So that is why it's very important that we start to realize the external conditions that we have in our lives and also the inner conditions we are planting in our lives to see what type of seeds are going to come up. So if you're putting yourself into situations like, like going around with not so nice people or kind of like, people that steal, people that do drugs, people that do that, then this might come up for you. Does it make sense? Yes? So it's not because like these people are bad. They not because of that, but because you know that you might have, let's face it, yes, we might have created these causes, yes, these seeds. So I don't want to have to experience that. Doesn't make sense what I'm talking about. The same for positive ones. The more nice positive conditions I put around me, the more the positive also seeds that we all have created, because we forget about that, but we also created a lot of positive seeds. May they be the ones sprouting, germinating, yeah? So that is important that we talk about when we talk about that we also talk about conditions. Yes? Does it make sense what I'm talking about? Shantideva people? Yes? Okay.
Uh, I have a question.
Okay, Sandra has a question.
Psychology believes that the parents influence the children.
The parents influence the children.
The environment.
Yes.
And I wonder if parents.
It's all the parents' fault, always.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I know it is.
No, not at all. Think about the second thing that I said. We can't experience a result if we haven't created the cause. That is very important for us to understand that, again, I'm not saying you deserve to have abusive parents or you deserve to have parents that were not bad to you and all of that. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that karma creates also the environment where we are in. Yes? How do I prove that? That karma creates the environment. Okay, so before I start talking about that, I'm just going to say that what we are discussing is also what we call the 4 types of results that karma have. Yes? So one of them is the result, the environmental result. So it means that karma creates the environment. How? Let's call one thing. Let's make a little history here. We are in 2025. In 1950s, in the 1950s, there was no such thing as global warming. Didn't exist at that time. People didn't know even that word, global warming. They didn't use it, right? So now we have global warming. What is the result? How does this result came about? The global warming? Because of the mind of greed and attachment. So the mind of greed and attachment not only created the kind of like that mental states of all the people with greed and attachment, but created the environmental result of it, which is global warming. Does it make sense what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes? So global warming is just a result of the cause, which is the greedy mind. Yes? Very important that we understand that. So that is one of the types of results, yes, that we have. So environmental result, we call it. Okay? So the other types of results that we say is kind of like the conditional, or it's the real word which I don't like is kind of like the okay, I'm gonna explain like this. The cause also creates the type of body, or the type of in or the type of rebirth that we're gonna have, because I don't want to go into the themes of. So that means that it also, one of the results is, if we become, if we are born, um, um, a man, a woman, a cat, a dog, or, if we are like this or like that, this is also one of the, yes, the kind of like the results that the karma creates. But the two most important ones, aspects of the results, very important, yes, is the result in accordance, or in results similar, results similar to the experience. Results similar to the experience. What does it mean? It means that when I get angry, yes, and I punch someone in the face, I am not only creating the result in terms of action, means I'm creating, yes, that pattern, that habit to punch more people in the face, but I'm creating the causes for me to receive a punch in the face. Does it make sense? These two for me are the most important understandings of the result. Yeah? That not only creates the habitual pattern, but it creates for me to have experienced the same result. So when I'm lying to someone, if I think, ooh, I don't like when people lie to me. So if I'm lying to someone, I'm creating, yes, the result equal to the experience. When I don't like that people gossip about me, when I don't like that people criticize me, when I don't like that people say bad things about me, when I don't like that people do whatever they do, accuse me or anything, don't accuse others. Don't talk about others. Don't criticize others. Because when you are doing it, you are creating not only the habit of doing that more and more and more, but you're creating the result to experience the same thing. So then I always say, for me, this is very special, because when we start to understand that, then we start to say, oh, I don't like to experience that for me, right? Start being a little bit selfish, is wisely selfish in that moment, and say, I don't like when people say bad things about me, criticize me, do something like that. So I'm not gonna do that. Does it make sense? Yes? Sheila, you have a question?
So, something that always kind of confuses me about environmental karma, like
Mm-hmm.
they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima when we totally annihilated the indigenous populations. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I always think of those people as being innocent, but according to karma, they've created the situation for these things to happen. I mean, whole
They
populations like that.
But remember, they created the cause to experience something like that. But remember that karma is also expendable, right? So maybe they created something that it was expanding, and then it created with that strong result like that. Yes. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they created kind of like they exterminated other populations, even though sometimes you can see like situations happening like these. No, some people are get exterminated, and then they try to exterminate others, and then they get like that. So it's more in that idea. And there is something that is also important that we talk about, which is collective karma. So collective karma doesn't mean that they share the same kind of like mental, because sometimes people, new age people nowadays, thinks that there is one big uh consciousness, and we are all coming from that consciousness. So so things like that, but nothing like that in Buddhism. Doesn't mean like this. It means that actually we might have created the same type of cause in our minds. Yes. So we might create the same cause, and therefore the conditions came together, and therefore the results are coming like this. Hmm? So it's more like this. Like, for example, it doesn't mean that those people that died in the airplane accident that I talked about earlier, that they created that they kind of like were all the same. They were all in the same place when they killed lots of people, and then because of that they have been killed. No, it can be that they created the cause to maybe die. I think carbonized. No, how do you say? Yeah, like fire, like because that's how I think you die, right? Because it explodes, and then So they might created the cause for that result to happen, and then the conditions came that then they had a connection with that mind, that kind of like that cause, and therefore that happened between them. Does it make sense? Yeah. So that is the idea. It not necessarily is the same, because also this is important, that it's not necessarily the same person directly, right? It's not that like, oh, because I gave Brian a punch in the face, that in 10 lifetimes Brian is gonna come and give me a punch in the face. Maybe someone else that has done that, kind of like that has the karma to punch someone in the face, and I have the karma to receive a punch in the face, by a friend or by someone. Like, let's say me and Brian, we are friends, and then I go and bah. So then I have that. You understand? It's not necessarily the same person. Why? Because we have had uh, beginningless lifetimes. So we have done beginningless ideas, negative with everybody, good things, and everybody bad things. So actually, in that way, it almost could be we can expect anything from anyone. But that is the idea. Does it make sense? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So so then it is important that we understand the idea of the result in accordance with the action, with that idea of habituating, and the idea of the result in accordance with the experience. Because I find it, understanding these two, they are very strong ways to make us try our best to stop creating negative karma. Yeah? Stop creating negative actions with body, speech, and mind. Because if we know that the more I do that, the more I'm going to engage myself, habituate myself, yes, to answer with anger, to do things with anger, to do something, to steal, to lie. The more I'm going to be doing this, and this is going to be kind of like making my mind shaken. Secondly, this is going to happen to me. And we are so precious, and we are so me, and we don't want to experience that. Then it can be a powerful antidote. Yeah. When I really feel, oh, wait a minute, when I'm driving and I'm going to say, you, blah, 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 and I say, wait, I don't want that. I don't want to create that karma for someone to come and have that kind of like negative, strong reaction against me. So I try to stop myself. Yes, does it make sense? That is so powerful, that mental state. So guess what? That means we are talking a lot about in a negative way, but karma can also happen, and it happens in a positive way. So that is very important. So it means that when we develop positive emotions, when we develop minds that are kind of like, opposites or antidotes, yes, to these negative emotions like attachment and anger, that means that we are also creating the result to experience many of the things that we are experiencing now. Having a comfortable life, a nice life, kind of like have access to things, have freedom to go and come back and all of that. Because we think it's so normal that we can just drive around, that we can just go and shop, that we can just travel wherever we want. How many people in the world don't have that freedom, right? So all of these is because we created positive things. So yesterday we talked about that, because I used a word that we created discussion, which I loved it. I said that we all deserve to be happy and deserve to not suffer. And then someone said, I don't think I deserve, like I think I created so many bad things and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yes. That normally is how we think about things, right? We forget that everything that we are experiencing good in our lives is because we created the causes. And that those causes came because of positive mental states, virtuous mental states. Yes? So that means that we also created positive things. Don't forget about that. Don't come with, there's a story of the Dalai Lama, I think in the 70s, the first time he came to America, one of the first times he came to America, and he was trying, someone asked him how to deal with low self-esteem. And Thubten, the translator at the time, he didn't know how to translate these because there is no such thing as this word in Tibetan, low self-esteem. And then they started to talk about, and explain when people start to feel bad or guilt or, that they don't deserve this and that. And then His Holiness looked at the audience, which was a large audience, and say, who else here thinks and feels like that? Most of people raise their hands, right? That is a very Western, and sorry to say, and I don't want to kind of like guilt or put a guilt in anyone, but it's a very Jewish Christian mental state, right? Of guilt, of kind of like, of you are not deserving or you're already sinner or anything like that. Buddhism comes from a mental state of the purity of the mind, that we have created these negative actions, that we engage into these negative actions and these negative intentions, not because we are sinners by nature, but because we are confused. Yes, we believed that those actions would bring us happiness and not suffer. That was the problem. So it's not because we are bad people by nature and then we need to become good people. No, is that we created habits, and therefore, because they are habits, they can be changed. Yes? So we can eliminate that. But also, we created positive habits, therefore, we also will have positive results. Also, to create less also pride, right? It's not because you have all of these because you're important or you've done everything by yourself. No, you just create the right conditions. Then, of course, you have the right results. It's just that. Don't feel so special like this. So this is the idea. Yes, that we understand it. So next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about positive emotions. Really dive into what are they? What makes an emotion positive? What are the characteristics? What are good antidotes? Because we say that the best way to counteract those negative intentions that we have, those negative kind of like, mental states, it's positive ones. So which ones, how they work, and what we can do. Because now that we understand karma, then you should all be asking me, yes, how we create positive intention and positive emotions, right? Because that's what I want. I want to experience more positive and I want to eliminate the negative ones. Does it make sense? Are we communicating?
Yeah.
Yes?
You say next week.
Next Tuesday. Yes. I'm going to continue online. I'm online.
How online?
Online, yes. Yes. I'm not going to be here in Florida, but I'll be online from the hot places of Brazil. While my friends in New York, they're going to be freezing. Is it very cold over there already? Yes, it's getting cold. Ooh, Linda is like, oh, it's very cold. So yes, we're going to be, I'm going to be over there. I'll make a video from the beach. Yes, and then you guys can show. No. We don't want to make jealousy arise in the mind. We don't want jealousy. So we're going to talk about that. Okay? So homework for this week is to try to analyze. Okay? One thing that I feel is very important. The mind, when we are kind of like, doing something towards someone or anything like that, especially try to look when we are doing something with a negative mental state. Yes, when we are angry, impatient, frustrated. Try to remember the two types of consequences, of results. One, you are creating the habit. Two, you're creating the causes for you to experience that. Think about that when negative, but also think about that when we are doing positive things. So when you say something nice, when you are complimenting someone, when you are kind of like giving, something, being generous or giving a hug or something like that, you are also creating the causes for these two things to happen, for your mind to habituate yourself more and for you to receive that. Yes? Does it make sense? Yeah? So that is very, very useful, I think, understanding karma. Of course, we just did it like this, like, one brush of, of karma. But karma, we say, is the most difficult topics because only really the mind that is very clear, even we say the mind of a Buddha can truly understand karma. Because it's a very complex, intertwined, you know? So it's very complex, very kind of like we don't understand and all of that. So only the mind of a Buddha that can see everything, clear, can actually understand karma. So here we are just getting that information, understanding those things so we can use in our daily lives. So that was the idea for today. Any more questions or anything? Or yes, Sheila?
So, so how does it work when, let's say, somebody asks you to do something and your immediate reaction is like, oh, that person's a pain in the ass. I don't really want to do this. But then you catch yourself and you think like, oh, get
Yes.
over it. That's just your ego. And you do a kinder, thing. But are you creating that negative intention? I mean, even though you've like caught yourself and maybe try.
Well, let's say like this, that the result was there, which is the result was that the result, look at how it is, because karma is action, but also we are getting the result. So it's kind of like the result comes, the habit comes for you to just snap and say, this person is a pain, right? But then you didn't finalize it, right? Which would be that you would say, and I am not gonna do anything for this person. So then you didn't completely create the necessary conditions and let's say that you didn't plant the entire seed. Yes, you just put it a little bit of it, which is just that snappy, to be, but then you stopped. So you didn't complete the karma. We say that it's not a completed karma. So then it becomes weaker. Yes. So it's not the same type of a result or the same type of tendency of habit that we create. So therefore, that is important. That is kind of like the sooner we catch, the weaker it becomes those negative emotions, those negative karmas, right? So
But are
that
they
is
still
very.
there? I mean, even though they're weaker, they're still present. I mean, they don't just evaporate because you've changed your mind.
They don't evaporate completely because there is two ways only for them to evaporate. Either they manifest, yes. So let's say that specific karma manifested, but created a new one when you snapped, right? When you say but you didn't. So until we totally don't get bothered, let's say like that, right? Then it's always going to be a little bit there. Does it make sense? But different. Is a different karma in the sense that it's a different seed. It has the same nature because it is from the same kind of like a type of result, but it's a different seed. Or when we say that we do purification of the mind, right? And then the purification of the mind is a little bit more complex, let's say like that, because involves two mental states, powerful mental states together, right? Which is regret, which is not guilt. Regret means I understand I made something wrong. I understand that this came because of my karma. I understand that this came because of my negative emotions, and I don't want to do this again. So it's nothing to do with I'm a bad person, that's why this is happening to me and guilting everybody else. No. Comes from regret, comes from understanding. And then comes at the second order mental state out of it is the refraining, making a strong effort in yourself to refrain from doing that again, right? And then, of course, these two mental states, they need to come first with the mind of, I'm doing this. I'm wanting, yes, to not kind of like engage anymore into this, like regretting these and making it, not engaging anymore in these negative mental states, not only because I'm making suffering for myself, but because I'm also making others suffer. So it has to come with the mind of compassion, of bodhicitta. Yeah? And then it has, I already made a mess here in the fingers. And then then it comes with the real practice, which is maybe a mantra, visualization, something that will help us, yes, shift that mind. Yeah, shift that mind, or do prostrations as we did today. That's one of the most important things. That's why I do always prostration, because I have many things to purify. So we need to purify like this. So that is the idea. So we can also purify. Purify means we are burning the potential of that seed to arise, the result. Yeah. But yes, I'm not gonna go there today because then I'm gonna make more mess in my mind and the mind of others. But let's say that the more we go advanced in the on the path, we go eliminating more and more subtle and more subtle of these imprints. Let's call it like that. Yeah, we go eliminating more subtle aspects of them. Yes. Hope it helps. Did it help?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, no, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, if no, any more questions, any more commentaries, how my mom says, let people ask questions or comments, or if they have anything else to say. No. So if not, then I wanted to thank all of you for being here, for coming, and I hope that anything that we said, that we shared today, if it was beneficial, we always try to to really dedicate that. For dedication is what I like to call dedication is like this. In motivation, where we do it in the beginning, is when we kind of like make a little kind of like whole. And then everything that we did today, the intention, out of that intention that we created, we are planting seeds. So we planted all of the seeds of understanding karma, of all this and all of that. But then we leave the whole like this. And then, there is the kind of like birds, the sun, and all of these, and. So we need to actually really close that, that intention and those seeds with, let's say, the intention, the dedication for those seeds to really ripen into positive results. Yeah, so we dedicate for that. So we try to use everything that we start to talk about in this today is not to just be in your mind, because actually the more you use what we just heard today for your daily lives. When you catch yourself being snappy or being kind of like rude with the cashier at the supermarket or someone in the street or someone, if you control yourself because you understood, Carmen, because what we just said today, you are making this beneficial for others, right? So really try to create that, really try to use that and to let these kind of like teachings really sink and touch your heart and use it in your daily life. So you can become happier, but also we can become the world a better place, the world a more compassionate, more kind, and less, kind of like a and there's less anger, there's less fights and less conflicts and all of that that comes from the negative mental states. Does it make sense? Yes. Okay. So we dedicate for that. So thank you so much. And I see you next week.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Patty.
Sheila. Thank you,
Thank
Patty.
you
Thank
very
you,
much.
everybody. Thank you.